Chapter 1142. I know a little about Gu Baishan's background. Although he is very strong, I have more strength than what I have now. Su Chan said meaningfully, and then added, of course, the premise is that someone must help me stop Kong Zonghao. You still have a trump card? Zhang Qingquan was shocked. Su Chun had shown enough means. If he still had a trump card, he might really be able to compete with Gu Batian. Su Chun, I can help you stop Kong Zonghao. Zhang Qingquan gritted his teeth and said, with his strength, he was no match for Kong Zonghao at all, but he was confident that he could stop him for a while. The reason why he did this, in addition to returning Su Chen's favor, was because he had his own plans. Once the Zhanhuan domain fell, Gu Batian and Kong Zonghao's next target would naturally be the Twilight domain. He understood that helping Su Chan was equivalent to helping himself. Patriarch Zong, it's best that you can help. Su Chan was overjoyed. Although the intelligent war chariot had been upgraded to level 24 and could compete with Kong Zonghao, it was not very safe. With Zhang Qingquan's help, he was relieved. In addition, don't worry, Patriarch Zong, I still have a war chariot that is about to be upgraded to God Realm 3 stars. When the time comes, there should be no problem for you to join forces to deal with Kong Zonghao. In order to reassure Zhang Qingquan, Su Chun pointed out that the intelligent war chariot was about to be upgraded. You still have a God Realm 3 stars war chariot? Zhang Qingquan was surprised. Generally speaking, the highest grade of a war chariot could reach level 10, which was quite impressive. A war chariot that could reach the saint level was almost rare. A war chariot that had reached the God Realm was unheard of. If what Lin Yu said was true, then there would be no danger for him to join forces with a God Realm 3 stars war chariot to deal with Kong Zonghao. Su Chen nodded and explained with a smile, to upgrade my war chariot to God Realm 3 stars, I need to consume 100 Wanqing crystals. Otherwise, it can't reach this level. I see. Zhang Qingquan suddenly understood. At this moment, he finally understood why Su Chan had come here. He was looking for Luan Qingjing to help the war chariot level up so that he could fight against Kong Zonghao. Su Chun, wait here. I'll go look for Luan Qingjing, Zhang Qingquan said. Luan Qingjing was of great importance. In order to avoid any mishaps, he planned to search for her personally. Then I'll have to trouble Patriarch Zong. Su Chan said gratefully. After Zhang Qingquan left, he returned to the intelligent war chariot. Sitting in the driver's seat, Su Chan exchanged all the fragments he had collected before for energy points. Then he bought all kinds of constitution potions and gave them to the illusionary Blazing Feather Divine Dragon, which was enough to promote it to 1 star of the Divine Realm. With the strength of the illusionary Blaze Feather Divine Dragon and the 5-colored hill, it was no match for a God Realm 3 stars. But it was more than enough to deal with some Deity Realm 2 stars. This way, he would be able to deal with Gu Batian at ease. After that, he opened the chaos space and chatted with the others, waiting for Zhang Qingquan's arrival. 3 days later, Zhang Qingquan arrived as promised. A group of God Realm experts of the Qinghe clan came with him. There were 11 of them. This time, Zhang Qingquan had made up his mind to go to the fantasy zone with Su Chun. He brought all the experts of the clan, ready to cut off all means of retreat. Chapter 1143. Su Chan did not pay much attention to the rest of the Qinghe clan. After all, some immortal state 1 or 2 stars could not change the situation. He was most concerned about Luan Qingjing. Only when Luan Qingjing gathered enough people would they have a chance of winning the battle with Gu Batian. Clan leader Zong, where's Luan Qingjing? Su Chun asked anxiously. Zhang Qingquan took out a storage bag and handed it to Su Chun. He smiled and said, don't worry, they're all here. There's a total of 108 stones. In the past 3 days, he had almost turned the entire Twilight region upside down with his clan members. Finally, they gathered enough and did not disappoint him. Su Chun was overjoyed and opened the storage bag to check. Luan Qingjing looked almost the same as an energy stone in terms of appearance. However, the color was slightly different. The energy stone was sparkling and translucent, while the Luan Qingjing was green and gloomy. In addition, The energy contained in the two was worlds apart. For example, if the energy stone was a drop of water, the Luan Jing was an ocean. As he had never seen the Luan Jing before, Su Chun contacted the intelligent war chariot and asked it to help identify it. In the end, the answer was that the Luan Jing was indeed in the storage bag. Su Chun was completely relieved and then invited Zhang Qingquan and the others to give him the car. The purpose of this trip was more perfect than he had expected. It was time to return to the Zhenhuan domain. After everyone got in the car, Su Chun ordered Satoshi return to the Zhenhuan domain. Yes, the intelligent war chariot drove at full speed and flew straight toward the domain passage in the meteorite group. On the way, Su Chun placed all the Luan Jing in the groove. However, it would still take some time for the intelligent war chariot to be upgraded to the level 24 form. 3 days later, Lin Yu returned to the Star Source Island in the Zhenhuan domain. During this period, the intelligent war chariot was successfully upgraded to the level 24 form. After the upgrade, the most direct change was that there was an additional form. They could transform into puppets, reaching a height of 300 meters. They looked like towering mountains. Their bodies flowed with a resplendent silver luster. Their defensive power was comparable to a top-grade sacred artifact. In addition, the power was also very terrifying. The power of one blow was almost the same as the power of Su Chen's heaven-reaching hundredfold vigorous technique. Although the intelligent war chariot didn't have many attacking methods, it was still very powerful. However, in terms of defense and strength alone, the power that he could unleash was more powerful than Peng Hui. When Zhang Qingquan and the others saw that the intelligent war chariot had transformed into a puppet, their jaws almost dropped. Disregarding everything else, just his 300-meter-tall body alone gave people a strong sense of awe. In addition to the successful advancement of the intelligent chariot, the illusory blaze-feather divine dragon had also successfully advanced to the level of 1 star of the divine realm. Compared to the intelligent war chariot's single attack method, it also had a special ability, Raging Flames burning the sky. Raging Flames incinerate the heavens had a very strong law of fire. It was many times stronger than flaming phoenixes. Once enveloped by it, 1 star of the divine realm would instantly turn into ashes. Even if a divine realm 2 star came into contact with it, they would be severely burned. It could definitely be considered a powerful trump card. Su Chun, you're finally back. When he saw Su Chun, Wu Tsang was extremely excited. The second primordial spirit quietly returned to Su Chen's body. Senior, Gu Batian didn't send any more beasts over, right? Su Chun asked with a smile. No, maybe he's afraid of you, so he hasn't made a move. Wu Tsang replied. When he saw Zhang Qingquan and the other members of the Qinghe clan walking down from the intelligent war chariot, his expression froze. Chapter 1144. Senior, this is clan leader Zhang of the Qinghe clan in the Twilight domain. The others are all God-state powerhouses of the Qinghe clan. They are all here to help us. Su Chun introduced them and pointed out the purpose of Zhang Qingquan and the other Qinghe clan members coming here. Then, he introduced Wu Tsang to Zhang Qingquan. Hiss! Wu Tsang took a deep breath, his face full of shock. He never thought that the Qinghe clan members who came here were all God-state powerhouses, including Zhang Qingquan, who was a God-state 3-star. Moreover, to his surprise, these God-state powerhouses were all here to help. In this way, they really had the strength to fight with Gu Batian. Clan leader Zhang, thank you so much for coming to help, Wu Tsang said gratefully. Fighting with Gu Batian was extremely dangerous, and there was a possibility of dying. Zhang Qingquan and the others could still come here without hesitation despite knowing this, which made him very touched. Brother Wu, you're too polite. Zhang Qingquan smiled and continued. Su Chun saved our clan's life, so it's only right that we come here to help. Save his life? Wu Tsang was a little confused. Zhang Qingquan told him about Su Chun killing Peng Hui and a group of red demon powerhouses in the Twilight domain. Su Chun is so powerful. Wu Tsang was shocked. At first, when Su Chan said that he had a way to deal with Gu Batian, he thought it was unlikely. After learning that Su Chan killed Peng Hui, he was full of confidence in Su Chan. After all, Su Chan did not bring his second primordial spirit with him to the Twilight Domain this time, causing his strength to be greatly reduced. But even under such circumstances, he could still kill a God-State 3-star powerhouse, which showed how powerful he was. Once he joined forces with his second primordial spirit, his strength would definitely soar greatly, and it would not be an extravagant hope to deal with Gu Batian. Senior, how long until the domain passage is completely stabilized? After getting to know each other, Su Chun changed the topic and asked about serious matters. When the domain passage was stabilized, which was also when Gu Batian came, he had to pay attention to it. About 20 days. Wutsong thought for a moment. Then, he said with a dignified expression, with Gu Batian's arrival, a great battle was unavoidable. Whether or not the Zhanhuan domain could continue to exist would depend on the outcome of this battle. Wutsong was looking forward to this battle, but he was more worried. 20 days. Su Chen whispered and said to Zhang Chunkin, Patriarch Zhang, Gu Batian can't come for the time being. Let's take this time to rest and conserve our energy. All right, Zhang Chunkin nodded. The key to victory in the upcoming battle was whether Su Chun could defeat or kill Gu Batian. Su Chan had become their leader. Whatever arrangements Su Chan made, they just had to follow Su Chen's instructions. Behind him, Su Chan made the intelligent war chariot grow to a size of several thousand meters. He led the group into the chariot, then took out all kinds of fruits, wine, and drinks to entertain Zhang Qingquan and the others. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, he opened the chaos space and called out Chao Ran and the others to play poker together. Wutsong and Zhang Qingquan were speechless. They secretly thought that Su Chan was really carefree. They were about to have a life-and-death battle, but he still had the leisure to play poker. However, this novel way of entertainment was really attractive. Wutsong and Zhang Qingquan watched for a while and felt a little itchy. When they understood the rules, they also rolled up their sleeves and played the landlord game. So what if he was a God-State expert? Could a God-State expert not be entertained? Chapter 1145. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. On this day, Su Chun and the others arrived near the boundary passage. Now that the boundary passage had been completely stabilized, Gu Batian might bring people to kill their way into the Zhanhuan domain at any time, so they had to be prepared in advance. As expected, on the second day, a powerful energy fluctuation was emitted from the boundary passage. There was no doubt that there were experts who had entered. They're here. Wutsong focused his mind. Zhang Qingquan and the others from the Qinghe clan immediately became nervous. Gu Batian was known as the #1 expert in the Four Realms, and his strength was unparalleled. If Su Chan could not withstand it, they would all die here today. Su Chen's expression was very calm, and there was a hint of anticipation in his eyes. He had been waiting for this battle for a long time, and he had long wanted to exchange blows with Gu Batian. Suddenly, the first figure appeared in the boundary passage. It was a ferocious beast in human form, and, judging from the aura, it was a God Realm 2 stars expert. When he saw Su Chun and the other experts, he subconsciously took a step back. However, he quickly reacted, and a hint of disdain appeared on his face. Gu Batian was about to arrive, and by then, these people in front of him would all be ants. So what was there to be afraid of? Su Chun, do you want to kill this guy first? Zhang Qingquan suggested. A God Realm 2 stars was considered a very strong opponent, and killing him could reduce the pressure on their side. No need, he's just a piece of trash. Su Chun did not care at all. To him, killing a God Realm 2 stars was just a matter of moving his fingers. Even if he killed him, it would not change the situation of the battle. And as long as he killed Gu Batian, this kind of trash would naturally submit without making a move. Since Su Chan had spoken, Zhang Qingquan did not say anything more and waited quietly. As time passed, there were more God Realm ferocious beasts entering through the boundary passage, and the number had already reached more than 20. However, Gu Batian did not appear. Suddenly, a violent aura shot in from the domain passageway. With this kind of aura, it was definitely a God Realm 3 stars expert. Was it Gubatian or Kong Zonghao? Zhang Qingquan and the others turned to look at the domain passageway. The next moment, a silver-haired old man in a golden robe with a dignified aura flashed out of the interdomain passage. It's Kong Zonghao, Zhang Qingquan reminded in a low voice. He's just a small fry. Su Chan curled his lips in disdain. His main target was Gubatian. Although Kong Zonghao was also a top-notch expert, he was still not worthy of his attention. Zhang Qingquan, why is your Qinghe clan here? When he saw Zhang Qingquan clearly, Kong Zonghao was surprised. Of course I'm waiting for you here. Zhang Qingquan smiled meaningfully. Waiting for me? Kong Zonghao's expression froze, and then his face sunk. He said with a fake smile, so you're here to stand up for Zhen Huan domain. Previously, he had received news that a super expert had appeared in the Zhen Huan domain and had killed many God-State experts in the vicious barbarian domain. At first, he was still a little skeptical. This was because he knew the situation in the Zhen Huan domain quite well, and there would definitely not be such a powerful person. When he saw Zhang Qingquan, he was relieved. Zhang Qingquan was also a God Realm 3 stars expert. Although he was at the bottom of the God Realm 3 stars level, it was still relatively easy for him to kill some God Realm 1 stars ferocious beasts. Zhang Qingquan smiled faintly. I'm here to help. The real main force was Su Chan, and he could not steal the limelight. Chapter 1146. Help. Kong Zonghao was slightly stunned. To put it nicely, it was to help. To put it bluntly, it was to be an assistant. However, who was qualified to be an assistant for an expert like Zhang Qingquan? With doubts, he squinted at Su Chun and Wu Tsang. The rest of the Qinghe clan were all Zhang Qingquan's subordinates. They were definitely not stronger than Zhang Qingquan. Only Su Chun and Wu Tsang were left. However, Su Chun and Wu Tsang were only a God State 1 star. Obviously, they did not have such qualifications. Then why would Zhang Qingquan say that? Was he deliberately mystifying things? Kong Zonghao looked at Zhang Qingquan again and smiled gloomily. Zhang Qingquan, since you said that you're here to help, who is the strongest person here? Zhang Qingquan did not answer. Instead, he turned to look at Su Chun. The meaning was self-evident. The strongest person was Su Chun. Kong Zonghao frowned slightly. Su Chun looked very young. To be able to advance to God State 1 star at this age, he could indeed be said to be a peerless genius. However, no matter how monstrous he was, his cultivation was only at God State 1 star. How could he be stronger than Zhang Qingquan? Boy, are you the strongest person here? Kong Zonghao glanced at Su Chun and questioned coldly. Su Chun pursed his lips and did not comment. Moreover, there was a trace of disdain in his expression. Seeing this, Kong Zonghao's face changed ferociously. A murderous aura that condensed into a substance lingered around his body. A mere God State 1 star and dare to look down on him. It was simply outrageous. Boy, since you are the strongest person here, do you dare to exchange a few blows with me? Kong Zonghao said loudly. He seriously doubted Su Chen's strength. Whether he was more powerful than Zhang Qingquan or not, he would know once they exchanged blows. Not interested. Su Chen shook his head and said indifferently, because you are not qualified to exchange blows with me. Not qualified? Kong Zonghao was stunned. Ever since he ascended to the 3rd star of the God Realm, he had become the 2nd strongest expert in the 4 Great Realms. Even Gubatian had to give him some face. Who does Su Chun think he is? He actually dared to humiliate him in front of so many people. Death was not enough to be regretted. At this moment, Kong Zonghao's chest was burning with rage. A murderous aura that had condensed to the point of materialization spread out without reservation. His eyes were filled with bone-chilling coldness. Brat, don't talk nonsense. Do you know how powerful Divine Kong is? How can a piece of trash like you compare to him? The group of Deity Realm ferocious beasts were also infuriated by Su Chen's arrogance and clamored at Su Chen one after another. I'll let you jump around for a while. After I kill Gubatian, all of you will die, Su Chen said calmly. Kill Gubatian. A weakling at the 1 star of the divine realm actually dared to threaten to kill the #1 expert of the 4 great realms? This was too much of a braggart. All the deity realm ferocious beasts were completely enraged. Each of them looked ferocious as they rubbed their palms together and looked like they were going to tear Su-chan into pieces. Ah! Kong Zonghao sneered and looked straight at Su-chan. He said in a cold voice, "Brat, I don't care if you're boasting or if you're mentally ill. I'll kill you today." As soon as he finished speaking, he charged towards Su-chan like a ferocious beast with an overwhelming, ferocious aura. "You're overestimating yourself." Su-chan was not afraid. He activated the golden scale arm and 100 times strength technique, took a step forward, and threw a punch at Kong Zonghao, who was flying towards him. Crack! The punch was as fast as lightning and powerful. Everywhere it passed, the void showed signs of shattering. Chapter 1147. You're asking for it. Kong Zonghao smirked when he saw that Su-chan had chosen to fight him head-on. He clenched his fist and threw a punch in the air. He was 2 levels higher than Su-chan. His strength and defense were superior to Su-chan's. He could definitely turn Su-chan into ashes after that punch. Wu-tsang and the rest of the God State beasts widened their eyes and looked at Su-chan and Kong Zonghao. As for who was stronger and who was weaker, this punch would reveal the result. An earth-shattering boom resounded. Su-chan's and Kong Zonghao's fists collided without any fancy moves. The sky fell and the earth cracked. A powerful wind storm swept out in all directions, blowing Wu-tsang and the others and the God State ferocious beasts all over the place. In the next moment, Kong Zonghao shot backward like a meteor and flew thousands of meters away in the blink of an eye. How was that possible? Divine Master Kong was defeated by a punch. The God State beasts were terrified when they saw that. They never thought that the second strongest person in the 4 realms would be at a disadvantage in a head-on fight with Su-chan. How is your strength so great? Kong Zonghao flew back from afar and stared at Su-chan with his eyes wide open. The disdain in his eyes had long disappeared and was replaced by a deep seriousness. He felt like he was hit by a giant mountain. His strength was as small as an ant in front of Su-chan. Su-chan's strength was terrifying beyond his imagination. He never thought that there would be someone with such divine power in the world. Do I need to report to you about my strength? Tell me now, do you admit defeat? Su-chan smiled contemptuously as if he did not take Kong Zonghao seriously. Huh? Kong Zonghao laughed instead of being angry and said coldly, "Kid, do you think you can be so arrogant just because you have divine power? If I want to kill you, it's a piece of cake." In a battle between powerhouses, strength was not the only thing that mattered. It was more about battle techniques, weapons, and supernatural powers. So what if Su-chan crushed him in terms of strength? He was confident that he could kill Su-chan if he used all his strength. Then I'll have to see just how much you're worth. Bring it on. Su-chan provoked. He originally planned to kill Gu Batian before dealing with Kong Zonghao. Since Kong Zonghao wanted to die, he might as well fulfill his wish. Then, he would have nothing to worry about and could focus on dealing with Gu Batian. Arrogant. Kong Zonghao flew into a rage out of humiliation, the veins on his old face bulging. He had been in the void for thousands of years, and no one had ever looked down on him. At this moment, his killing intent rose, and he swore to completely destroy Su-chan. Clang! Kong Zonghao for Lin Lin used for a moment sake suddenly. A murderous intent locked for Su-chan as for alls for a while. Possessing this ability, it was clear that this long saber absolutely belonged to the ranks of top-tier divine artifacts. Su-chan, the long saber in his hand, is called Silver Moon's Space Shattering Blade. It's a spatial divine artifact. You must be careful, Zhang Chunkuan reminded with a solemn expression. Su-chan nodded his head slightly, but there was no fear on his face. All of a sudden, the sound of bones cracking could be heard from his body. In the blink of an eye, his body had risen to a height of 10 feet. At the same time, a violent pressure spread out. His cultivation also reached the level of Deity Realm 2-star. Since he was going to fight for real, Deity Realm 1-star cultivation was not quite enough. Transformation Art, Deity Realm 2-star. Kong Zonghao was taken aback. If Su Chan was only Deity Realm 1-star, he still had the confidence to win. But reaching Deity Realm 2-star, his strength rose comprehensively. He was no longer as confident as before. Chapter 1148. The other immortal state ferocious beasts were also horrified. Su Chan was already powerful enough when he was at immortal state 1-star. How powerful would he be when he advanced to immortal state 2 stars? Would Kong Zonghao still be a match for him? Kong Zonghao, come here and die. Su Chan glanced at Kong Zonghao and said loudly. Creak. Kong Zonghao ground his teeth, and flames of anger shot out of his eyes. Just as he was about to attack, a terrifying pressure suddenly came from the boundary passage. It was slightly stronger than Kong Zonghao's. Gu Batian is here. Zhang Chunquan and the others' expressions froze. There was no doubt that it was Gu Batian who had such a violent pressure. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. Gu Batian was known as the strongest person in the 4 great realms. His strength was unparalleled. Before he even showed up, Zhang Chunquan and the others felt extremely pressured. He's finally here. Su Chan snorted softly, his gaze drifting towards the domain passage. It was a loud boom. A figure quickly rushed out of the boundary passage. At first, it was no different from an ordinary person's figure. However, it soon began to change dramatically and reached a height of 1,000 feet in the blink of an eye. It was like a peerless demon god with a layer of condensed, murderous aura rippling from its body. What a terrifying aura! Wu Tsong and the others' expressions changed drastically, and they involuntarily retreated. The moment Gu Batian and Tian Pu appeared, Wu Tsong and the others were intimidated. From this, it could be seen how terrifying their strength was. Patriarch, the group of immortal state ferocious beasts respectfully called out to Gu Batian. Brother Gu, you're finally here. Kong Zonghao sighed softly. Su Chan still gave him a lot of pressure. Fortunately, Gu Batian had arrived in time. Su Chan was handed over to Gu Batian to deal with. He did not have to take the risk. Gu Batian nodded slightly, and then glanced at Su Chan and the others. When he saw that Zhang Chunquan and the other Qing'e clan members were also here, a cold light suddenly flashed in his eyes, and he said coldly, Zhang Chunquan, are you here to die? After occupying the Zhanhuan domain, his next target was the Twilight domain. Originally, it would have been a little troublesome. Unexpectedly, Zhang Chunquan appeared here. Now, everything could be settled in one go. Zhang Chunquan gritted his teeth and remained silent. When he faced Kong Zonghao, he was still able to confront him. However, he did not have the slightest bit of courage when facing Gu Batian. Gu Batian, don't be so arrogant. If you want to kill them, you'll have to go through me first. Su Chan took a step forward and looked straight at Gu Batian with a faint smile. Gu Batian was stunned. A 2-star god realm ant actually dared to provoke him? Brother Gu, this brat is not simple. His strength is much stronger than yours and mine. Kong Zonghao reminded. Oh, Gu Batian exclaimed softly. Kong Zonghao was the second strongest person after him. To be able to receive such an evaluation from Kong Zonghao, it could be imagined that Su Chan must be extraordinary. However, he was only a 2-star god realm expert after all. In his eyes, he was still an ant. Brat, you're very brave. However, you're still far from being able to show off in front of me. Gu Batian sized up Su Chan, smiled contemptuously, and continued, seeing that you have such a cultivation base at such a young age, I'll give you a chance to kill yourself here. As the strongest person in the 4 domains, he was qualified to say such words. It was normal for him to look down on Su Chan. Chapter 1149. In the past, many people used this tone to talk to me. Unfortunately, they all died in my hands without exception. Su Chan narrowed his eyes and said calmly. As soon as he finished speaking, he gave Wu Tsong and the others a meaningful glance, indicating for them to retreat. The fight between him and Gu Batian was a life and death game. He would not hold back any of his superpowers, and the waves created were enough to destroy a level 1 immortal state star. Wucang understood and retreated with Zhang, Chengkuan, and the others. Soon, they were dozens of miles away. "Brother Gu, do you want to join forces to kill him?" Kong Zonghao suggested. He always felt that Su Chun was very strange. In order to avoid any unexpected trouble, he wanted to kill Su Chun as soon as possible. Join forces? Gu Baishan's face was sullen. He was the #1 expert in the 4 realms. Why would he need to join forces against a level 2 immortal state star? If this were to spread, it would be a disgrace to his reputation. "Brother Kong, just enjoy the show." Gu Batian rejected. Since Gu Batian had spoken, Kong Zonghao did not say anything else. He quickly retreated with the other immortal state beasts. "Boy, it seems that you want to fight me. I'll fulfill your request." Gu Batian glanced at Su Chun and smiled. Then, a golden long sword appeared in his hand. It was 400 to 500 feet long. The power it exuded shook the sky. It was not inferior to Kong Zonghao's Silver Moon Sky shattering blade. Gu Batian held the golden long sword and pointed it at Su Chun. He sneered, "Boy, to die under my sword-piercing sky is the greatest honor in your life. You want to kill me? You have to have the ability to do so." Su Chun snorted and opened his storage bag to summon the Thunder Sacred Sword. With a whoosh, a 3-meter-long holy sword surrounded by lightning shot out from his storage pouch and circled above his head. Thunder Sacred Sword. Seeing Su Chun summon a lightning sacred sword, Gu Batian had a mocking look on his face. His piercing Heaven Divine Sword was a top-notch divine weapon. Not to mention a single divine sword, even 10 or 100 divine swords would not be able to withstand it. Was that all Su Chun could do? What a joke. However, just as he finished speaking, his eyelids suddenly twitched. A lightning-attributed sacred sword flew out from Su Chun's storage pouch. Moreover, it was continuous. After the second sword, it followed closely behind. Then came the third, the fourth. In the blink of an eye, there were 100 of them. Furthermore, the lightning-type sacred swords were still shooting out continuously. In the blink of an eye, there were already 1,000 of them. Looking at the sacred sword that was filled with lightning, everyone was dumbfounded. 1,000 lightning-attributed sacred swords. There were some people who never owned a single saint artifact in their entire lives. However, Su Chun alone possessed 1,000 of them. This was simply inconceivable. How could he have so many sacred swords? Gu Batian was a little moved. His calm face showed a dignified look for the first time. The combined power of 1,000 lightning-attributed sacred swords was no less than the piercing Heaven Divine Sword. At this moment, he finally understood why Su Chun was so fearless. It must be because of the 1,000 sacred swords. Su Chun actually has such a trick up his sleeve. Zhang Qingquan's face was filled with horror as he muttered in a trembling voice. When they were in the Twilight region, Su Chun had said that he still had a trump card. He was also looking forward to it, but he never thought that this trump card would be so terrifying. This guy actually has such a trump card. Kong Zonghao whispered with lingering fear. Facing 1,000 lightning-attributed sacred swords, he knew that he would definitely not be able to withstand it. Chapter 1150. No, Su Chun has more than 1,000 lightning elemental sacred swords. At this moment, Wu Tsang shouted in shock. Everyone's expression changed, and they all looked at Su Chun. In their line of sight, more lightning elemental sacred swords shot out from Su Chun's storage bag. The speed was even faster. In the blink of an eye, there were another 100 swords, and there were no signs of stopping. 1,000 swords, 2,000 swords. It was only when there were 5,000 swords that he stopped. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Even their breathing had stopped. A total of 5,000 lightning elemental sacred swords. It was like a dream. Even though they saw it with their own eyes, they still found it unbelievable. However, it wasn't over yet. After the 5,000 sacred swords stood in the void, there was a terrifying wave of spiritual energy and magical energy. Suddenly, 2,500 swords formed from spiritual energy, and 2,500 magical energy swords appeared. Oh my god! Zhang Qingquan's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The others were also extremely shocked. Their mouths were wide open, and their expressions were blank. What kind of superpower is this? Gu Batian swallowed his saliva. Even his voice was trembling. He had been in the void for tens of thousands of years, and had never seen such a terrifying sword-type superpower. 5,000 lightning elemental sacred swords, 2,500 spiritual energy swords, and 2,500 magical energy swords. There were 10,000 swords. Their combined power was enough to shake the heavens and earth. Moreover, Su Chen's identity as a full-time cultivator was obvious. How can there be such a monster in this world? Gu Baishan's state of mind was shaken. He had always been known as the #1 expert and the #1 genius in this world. However, with the appearance of Su Chen, the title of the #1 genius was probably going to be taken away. This was because, judging from Su Chen's age, he was definitely not more than 100 years old. To be able to reach the immortal state at this age was something that even he couldn't do. Moreover, Su Chen was a full-time cultivator. This was even more proof that Su Chen's talent completely crushed his. I have to destroy him completely. Gu Batian shouted in his heart. The titles of the #1 expert and the #1 genius were not to be taken by others. As long as Su Chen was destroyed, this world would still be under his control. Submit to me and prosper. Oppose me and perish. Therefore, Su Chen must die. Die! Gu Batian let out a hysterical roar as he swung his sword down with both hands. All of a sudden, the sword of piercing heaven in his hand grew to 1,000 feet in size. Like a golden river of stars, it tore through the void and slashed down at Su Chen. The power of a single sword strike was terrifying. Wu Cong and the others paled in fright, retreating 100 miles in the blink of an eye. Good timing. Su Chen showed no signs of fear as he stretched out his hand and pointed forward. Buzz! The sacred sword trembled slightly, and lightning overflowed in all directions. The 10,000 long swords shot toward the giant golden sword in unison. They merged with each other as they flew, and in the blink of an eye, they turned into a blue longsword that was 1,000 feet long. In the next moment, the two swords collided without any fancy moves. Boom! Crack! The world changed color, and the void shattered. It was as if a planet had exploded, and a violent power swept out in all directions. Even though they were more than 100 miles away, Wu Cong and the others were so shocked that their hearts trembled. They suppressed their fear and looked at the source of the explosion without blinking. The clash of Su Chen and Gu Baishan's strongest killing moves would soon reveal who was stronger. Chapter 11:51. When the dazzling light dissipated, the golden longsword trembled violently and was sent flying. As it flew, the gigantic sword shrunk continuously and quickly returned to its original size of 400 feet. Moreover, the entire sword was covered with web-like cracks. Finally, with a crisp crack sound, it shattered into countless pieces and scattered in the void. The piercing heaven divine sword was actually shattered. Witnessing this scene, everyone was stunned. How could this be? Gu Baishan's heart was bleeding. The Tongtian sword was his main means of dominating the void. Without this top-grade divine weapon, his strength would be greatly reduced. However, he could not care less about his heartache. After destroying the Tongtian sword, the gigantic blue sword came crashing down on him like a hot knife through butter. You're too naive to kill me. Gu Batian gritted his teeth, and a layer of golden armor appeared on his body, emitting a dazzling golden light. At that moment, he was like a god. His majesty was awe-inspiring and mighty. Su Chen pursed his lips with a look of disdain and pointed his finger forward. The gigantic blue sword cut through the sky with lightning speed and slashed down on Gu Batian. Boom! Another earth-shattering sound was heard. Gu Batian suffered a violent blow, and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. His 1,000 feet tall body quickly disappeared, and finally, he was only 10 feet tall. However, a part of the power of the 100 Swords as one was depleted, and the sword could not kill Gubatian, who had the divine armor. Even so, it was inevitable that Gubatian would end up with serious injuries. At that moment, he was in rags and his breath was weak. He was no longer as mighty as before. A divine master was crushed. The faces of the immortal state ferocious beasts darkened. Gubatian had always been invincible in their minds. Who would have thought that he would be beaten to such a state by a 2 stars immortal state? Just a little bit more. Wutsong recovered from the shock and sighed regretfully. If Su Chun had killed Gubatian, the battle would have ended. However, if Gubatian did not die, there would be a huge variable. Su Chun had already used his strongest killing move. Did he still have any other trump cards? Would he be able to kill Gubatian? None of this was known. On the other side, Kong Zonghao heaved a heavy sigh. Su Chen's strength had shocked him greatly. If Gubatian was killed, then he would be in danger. Fortunately, Gubatian was not dead yet, so there was still a chance to turn the tables. Otherwise, he would immediately leave the Zhanhuan domain. Brat, I have to admit that you are indeed very strong, but it's impossible for you to kill me. Are you at your wit's end? Gubal laughed wildly. He instinctively thought that Su Chun would not have any more trump cards. After that, he would madly seek revenge until Su Chun was completely destroyed. You're too naive. A mocking expression appeared on Su Chen's face. After putting the lightning-type sacred sword into his storage bag, he aimed at Gubatian and used Drunken Life from afar. Gubatian was now at his weakest, and it was the best time to kill him. Kill him while he was weak. He would not miss such a great opportunity. You want to show off in front of me with just a mere intent realm divine ability? Gubatian was dazed for a moment, but he quickly recovered. As a 3 stars immortal state super expert, his willpower was extremely strong. Su Chen's drunken life could not do anything to him. However, Su Chen's punch was just a pretense. The second primordial spirit used instant phantom and appeared behind Gubatian. It aimed at Gubatian and punched in the air. Chapter 1152. Gubatian sensed a dangerous aura behind him and quickly turned around. When he saw that it was an identical Su Chun, he was stunned. But soon, he realized that the Su Chun behind him must be an avatar. An avatar would at most have half of the strength of the original body. Thinking of this, Gubatian was disdainful. A mere avatar wants to sneak up on me? As soon as he finished speaking, his face changed. At this moment, he clearly felt that the avatar in front of him had the same aura as Su Chun. They had both reached the level of God Realm 2-star. An avatar with the same strength? Gubatian was taken aback. What he saw was a 100-meter-tall astral tempest that suddenly appeared in the void and came crashing down on him at a rapid speed. The energy waves that it emitted were destructive. What superpower is this? Gubatian was completely stunned. Before he could even react, he was engulfed by the galaxy storm that swept over. What a terrifying fist skill superpower. Kong Zonghao and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. Su Chen's 10,000 swords into one was already shocking enough, but the galaxy storm gave them a feeling that it was not inferior to the 10,000 swords into one. One person had 2 superpowers, and his strength was unparalleled. At this moment, they clearly realized how powerful Su Chun was. Su Chun has such a trump card. Wutsong was stunned. Zhang Chunquan and the others were relatively calm. After all, when he was in the Twilight Domain, he had seen Su Chun use this killer move, so he had a certain level of tolerance. Bang bang. Crack crack crack. After a series of crackling sounds, the galaxy storm gradually dissipated. Everyone widened their eyes and looked at Gubatian. They saw that Gubatian was covered in blood, and the divine armor on his body was shattered inch by inch. His aura was also extremely weak. Although he was not dead, he was definitely at the point of exhaustion. Gubatian is finished. Zhang Qinquan and the others were excited. They could clearly see that not only was Gubatian heavily injured, but his divine armor and divine sword had also been destroyed by Su Chun. His strength had fallen to rock bottom. As long as Su Chun continued, he would definitely be able to kill Gu Batian. Quick, save the clan leader. The group of deity realm ferocious beasts suppressed the fear in their hearts and rushed towards Su Chun. Kong Zonghao hesitated for a moment and followed closely behind the god-state ferocious beast. He understood that if Gu Batian died, he would not be able to live either. Therefore, he could not watch Gu Batian die in Su Chen's hands. Kill! Zhang Qinquan roared and rushed towards Kong Zonghao. Now is the best time to kill Gu Batian. He could not allow Kong Zonghao to ruin his plan. Scram! Kong Zonghao flew into a rage and slashed out with his saber, sending Zhang Qinquan flying. Chapter 1153. Su Chun then summoned the Disillusionment Blaze-Winged Divine Dragon and the Integrated Five Extremes Mountain to kill the rest of the God-State Beasts. After doing all this, he looked at Gu Batian and said lightly, "You're indeed the most powerful opponent I've ever met to be able to block 2 of my killing moves in a row without dying. In order to show you enough respect, I'll use my killing move to deal with you. Su Chun, give me a chance to live." Gu Batian roared loudly. Even though he had lived for countless years, he still did not want to die. However, he was now a lamp that had run out of oil. Not to mention that he could not block Su Chun. Even a God-State 1-star could easily kill him. If he wanted to live, he could only beg Su Chun. Su Chun snorted and rushed to Gu Batian. He joined forces with the second primordial spirit to perform the 10,000 lights, 10 shadows killing technique. All of a sudden, 20 shadows and 2 Su Chun surrounded Gu Batian. In the next moment, they used their own methods and attacked together. There was a loud boom. Gu Batian was blasted into powder without any suspense. From then on, Gu Batian, who was known as the strongest person in the 4 realms, had completely become history. Looking at the millions of fragments densely packed in the sky, Su Chen's lips curled up slightly. Then, he quickly collected the fragments. The number of fragments had reached a whopping 8 million. If all of them were exchanged for energy points, it would be just enough to buy a level 23 all attributes fragment. With his current strength, he could still easily kill Kong Zonghao and the others. However, Su Chun could not help but exchange for one. His cultivation instantly soared to the God-State 3 stars. The Patriarch is dead. After seeing that Gu Batian was not killed, those God-State beasts no longer had the heart to fight and fled toward the boundary passage. The Integrated 5 Extremes Mountain and the Disillusionment Blaze-Winged Divine Dragon could not stop them at all. Kong Zonghao also did not want to continue fighting. Once Gu Batian was dead, Su Chen's next target would definitely be him. If he did not run, he would lose his life here. However, he was entangled by the intelligent war chariot and couldn't get away for a while. On the other side, Su Chen narrowed his eyes and quickly released the 5 elements thunder purgatory formation. While trapping a group of divine realm fierce beasts, he raised his hand and launched a Pegasus meteor punch. As his cultivation increased, the power of his various divine abilities also increased. Amidst the miserable howls, all the deity realm ferocious beasts were killed without being able to put up any resistance. Su Chun has leveled up. Wu Tsang and the others were pleasantly surprised. The Su Chun before his breakthrough was already enough to crush all opponents. After his breakthrough, who in the world could be his match? After Kong Zonghao sensed Su Chen's advancement, he was scared out of his wits. However, he wasn't someone easy to deal with. He definitely wouldn't sit and wait for death. He gritted his teeth, and a bright white light appeared on the silver moon sky shattering blade. A terrifying power was released and sent the intelligent war chariot flying with one blow. Then, without hesitation, he flew straight toward the domain passage. However, before he flew far, his vision suddenly blurred and he saw a figure in front of him. It was Su Chun. Su Chun, do you really want to fight to the death with me? Kong Zonghao suppressed the fear in his heart and snorted angrily. Do you think you can bargain with me with a little power of faith? Su Chen sneered. He saw clearly that the white light covered by the silver moon sky's shattering blade was the power of faith, and it was quite mature. It was the power of faith that could send the intelligent war chariot flying with one blow. Chapter 1154. However, the power of faith was a great deterrent to others, but it was nothing to him, because he had the city of faith, which was the nemesis of the power of faith. No matter how much power of faith there was, he could absorb it all. Since you know about the power of faith, do you still dare to stop me? Kong Zonghao snorted and increased the output of the power of faith at the same time. Suddenly, the white light on the silver moon's sky-shattering blade almost condensed into a substance, emitting a dazzling light and terrifying energy fluctuations. The power of faith could not only be used to attack, but also to help one level up. Kong Zonghao had been condensing the power of faith for more than 10,000 years. The reason why he didn't use it until now was that the power of faith was only a little bit away from helping him advance to Divine Realm 4 stars. With his aptitude, advancing to Divine Realm 3 stars was already his limit. If he wanted to advance to Divine Realm 4 stars, he could only do so through the power of faith. How could he bear to do so? However, due to the critical situation, he could only release the power of faith. And he also believed that with the power of faith as a trump card, Su Chen would definitely be wary. You're still too naive. Su Chen shook his head and sighed softly, then summoned the city of faith. Suddenly, an extremely violent suction force attached to the silver moon sky-shattering blade. The power of faith was sucked into the city of faith like a whale sucking in water. My power of faith. Kong Zonghao watched as the power of faith that he had spent countless years condensing was sucked away. His heart was bleeding. Without the power of faith, not only did he block the path to Divine Realm 4 stars, but he also lost the trump card to fight against Su Chen. Su Chen, I'll kill you. Knowing that there was no way out, Kong Zonghao made up his mind and slashed at Su Chen with the silver moon sky-shattering blade. You're just a speck of light. Su Chen sneered and punched out with his fist. There was a loud explosion. The silver moon's sky-shattering blade was blown away by the punch, and Kong Zonghao was blasted into pieces. He's too strong. Zhang Qingquan and the others were shocked and excited. With Kong Zonghao killed, the battle was completely over. Zhenhuan Domain, great victory. Of course, it was all thanks to Su Chen. From the beginning to the end, they were nothing but trash. Su Chen collected the fragments and returned to Wu Tsang's side. Then he ordered the intelligent war chariot to transform into a spaceship and invited everyone to board the spaceship to talk. Su Chen, what are we going to do next? Wu Tsang asked. Gu Batian and the others perished one after another. From then on, the Zhenhuan boundary was completely stable. If there was nothing else, he was prepared to leave the Zhenhuan domain and explore the universe. The next step is to exterminate the void beasts. Su Chen said coldly as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Oh, Wu Tsang nodded. The void beast and the heaven-scattering cultivator colluded to open the realm passage and almost destroyed the Zhenhuan domain. With Su Chen's temper, it was reasonable for him to destroy it. Su Chen, I plan to leave the Zhenhuan domain. Wu Tsang said directly. A mere void beast was not even comparable to an ant in Su Chen's eyes. Even if he stayed, he would be of limited use. Senior, you're leaving? Su Chen frowned. Soon, he remembered that Wu Tsang had planned to leave long ago. However, he was still somewhat reluctant to part with Wu Tsang. After thinking for a while, he said, Senior, why don't you wait for a while? After I eliminate the void beasts and restore order in the Zhenhuan domain, we can leave together. The vast universe was wonderful, and he had long wanted to experience it. Okay, I'll listen to you. Wu Tsang said happily. Su Chen's strength was unparalleled. With Su Chen accompanying him, their safety would be greatly increased. Of course, he was willing to do so. After receiving Wu Tsang's reply, Su Chen turned to look at Zhang Qingquan and said with a smile, Clan leader Zhang, if there's nothing else, you can stay here for a few more days. No problem. Zhang Chengkuan agreed happily. Gu Batian and Kong's Zonghao had been destroyed. Their twilight domain would not be in danger. They only needed to send their clansmen back to report. Later, Su Chun opened the chaos space and summoned everyone. He only ordered them to do one thing: eat, drink, and play. 10 days later, Zhang Chengkuan left with his clansmen. Before leaving, Su Chun gave him a lot of seeds and told him about the fruiting period, which made Zhang Chengkuan very excited. After sending Zhang Chengkuan away, Su Chun arranged for people to eliminate the Void Beasts. A year later, the Void Beasts were completely destroyed. The Sun Moon Star Palace was also rebuilt at this time. 10 years later, the Sun Moon Star Palace became the strongest force in the human race, and even the entire Zhanhuan domain. The two ancestors, War Sky and War Sky, advanced to the Divine Realm one after another. The Qi and Shang families, who had a good relationship with Su Chun, benefited greatly and became the second and third strongest forces. With the help of Su Chun, Qi Qingchuan also advanced to the Divine Realm as he wished. After that, Su Chun spent 3 years traveling the entire human race continent. He stayed in Qinyu Island for a whole year. Then he said goodbye to his acquaintances one by one and took them to leave the Zhanhuan domain in the intelligent war chariot. They drove into the vast universe and began a new journey. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.